we are pleased to be joined by the GM of Boeheim's Army, Shaun Belbey. Shaun, we are so sorry to keep you waiting. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, guys.
One question I've been getting a lot lately is their roster complete? 10 guys now after the addition of Frank Mason. Is your roster complete, Shaun?
I think so. Very small possibility we add an 11th guy, but as of right now, the roster's complete.
All right. The addition yesterday of Frank Mason, or a couple days ago, it seems like one that was necessary, right? You had a lot of really good players. You needed that point guard to kind of bring it all together. Can you kind of speak to what Frank is going to provide this team with?
Yeah, like you said, we really needed another ball handler. And I've known Frank for, some years now and thought that he was going to be the perfect fit for our team and, the guy that we wanted to come in and, play the point guard position and hopefully lead us to a championship. But he brings NBA experience, played in the TBT last year with Kansas team, did really, really well, and excited to see him in Orange this summer.
Shaun, how do you go about approaching this thing? Because from the outside looking in, it looked like you got commitments from the former Cuse guys off the bat with Elijah Hughes and Malachi and the Boeheims and so on and so forth, and then you kind of built from there. Was that kind of your approach? Did you want or was it just a coincidence that the Cuse guys kind of committed first?
No, always try and build the roster, like you said, with the Syracuse guys first. So I try and get as many Syracuse guys as I can. This year it was 6, potentially 7, but so I got 6 Cuse guys off the bat and then see what positions we need after that. So with our 6 Cuse guys, we had no point guards. So I had to go out and get 2 point guards, and I did that in Frank Mason and Jacob Gilliard. And then just kind of go out from there based on how I feel, what the roster needs.
I know there's not a lot of time to practice together, obviously, right? Guys will come maybe a week or so out, and you'll have some practices and put in some plays and so on and so forth. The fact that Alan Griffin's the head coach, the fact that Eric Devendorf is the assistant, and you've got 6 Cuse guys that that those 2 coaches know all of these guys, they know their skill sets, they've worked with them in the past. Does that give you guys a little bit of an edge early on, or a little bit of an advantage that everybody's not just getting to know each other, a week before you tip it up for real?
Yeah, I think so. Like you said, having, Cuse guys who have played, with each other before, like Buddy and Elijah, or, Chris and Rakeem. So having guys who are familiar with each other on the court and, but also, friends off the court as well, it gives us an advantage. This year, I think we're only going to practice for 2 days before our first game. So not that much time, but I think we'll be able to figure it out.
We kind of know all the Syracuse guys, certainly, having, been around this team for so long. Tell us a little bit about the non-Syracuse guys on this roster. And I guess let's start with Nick Perkins and, kind of give me a mini scouting report on each of these guys that you signed that are not Cuse guys.
Yeah, Nick's a beast. Played at Buffalo, so obviously not too far, from Cuse, but he's a big man. Will play the 4-5 for us, really strong, but can step outside and shoot 3. And he's a TBT champion. Won it with Buffalo in 2022, so he knows what it takes to win. So we're ecstatic to have him play with us.
Noah Starkey's a guy that Buddy knows awfully well, and I know Jim Boeheim, had some good things to say about Noah. What does he bring to the team?
Yeah, that was a call that I got from Coach Jim. You need to go and get this guy. He's really good. He said he's one of the best big men he's ever seen. But Noah's kind of like a do-it-all big man. He can pass, he can rebound, he can score if he has to. He's just a really good player, and he's going to do the dirty things for us that it takes to win the tournament.
And then Jacob Gilliard, the NCAA's all-time steals leader from Richmond, a defensive presence, can be a ball handler as well. I mean, what does he add to your roster?
Yeah, just an amazing player. Played a full season with the Memphis Grizzlies, just a little bit over a year ago. Has NBA experience. Just really, really good point guard, really good passer. Like you said, a really good on-ball defender, shoots the lights out, making his TBT debut this summer. So I'm very excited to have him.
Shaun, you've been around the TBT for quite a while now. Do you feel like you have the ingredients? I mean, we saw what it took in 2021 to win this thing. Do you feel like you have all the pieces in place to make another deep run this time around?
I think so. If you just look at our roster, I feel like we have everything that we need. We have guard play, we have shooting, we have good big men. So we just need to come focused, locked in, and not worry about individual performance and individual success, but just focus on winning the $1 million as a team, and I think we'll be all right.
Eric Devendorf named an assistant coach. At least we caught wind of it yesterday. Can you just speak to his addition, and a guy who has been through this TBT experience 7 times as a player, once as an assistant previously. He's got a lot of experience, obviously. Why did you want Devo to be a part of this thing?
Yeah, Devo was a huge addition for us. Obviously, amazing player, but also a really, really good coach. Knows the TBT almost better than anybody with all the years he's been involved. And we just felt like it was, the right time to bring him back on the sidelines to be a coach for us. Adam Weissman and I talked about it and thought it was going to be the perfect idea. So excited to see him back in orange on the sidelines for us. And he's going to be great.
Your first matchup is against the Herkimer Originals. Paulie and I are actually going to be calling the game that day on ESPN Radio. I know their roster is still being put together, but they've got a couple of players with local ties on that roster. What do you know about them at this point, and what are you expecting with that matchup?
To be honest, I don't really know anything about them. I know they played in it last summer and had Samir Torrance, a Cuse guy, and some other local players, like you said. But as of right now, haven't dove too much into the scouting for that first round game yet.
That's fair. That's fair. What does it take to win this thing? We talk about if you felt like you had the pieces in place. What is it? For the guys to be unselfish, is it? What do you think is like the ultimate ingredient that you need to be able to pull off a deep run?
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily about the talent that you have at all. You kind of hit the nail right on it just now. It's really about defense and playing together as a team. You have to win 6 games in a row. It's kind of like the NCAA tournament. Anything can happen. Obviously, you have to make shots and do good on offense, but winning this tournament always comes down to which team plays the hardest and which team gets the most stops. When we won in 2021, we won every single rebounding advantage in each game that we played. So we out-rebounded every team, and we weren't very big at that time. The last 2 years that we lost, we kind of got killed on the glass, had some big hiccups on defense, and heard that in 2023 they went on like a 20-4 run in that third quarter. So if you play defense and rebound, I think we're going to be all right.
What is it about this tournament that everybody loves? This thing was introduced, about a decade ago, maybe a little bit more now. And at the time, it was just this novel idea. Over the summer, would it stick? And here we are a decade later, and fans genuinely look forward to this every year. I mean, what is it about this tournament that everybody's kind of fallen in love with?
Yeah, I mean, you're playing for $1 million. So, that doesn't come by often, but just bringing back together, the Syracuse players for us, I think it gives the fans, something to look forward to in the summertime with no other basketball going on. And we look forward to it every year. Unfortunately, we weren't able to participate last summer. So we're hoping that, coming back to Syracuse, we're going to have a huge crowd coming out to support, some of their former favorite Syracuse players like Buddy, Jimmy, Rakeem, Elijah Hughes, some guys that haven't played yet. So we can't wait.
All right. We can't wait either. July 19th, it all gets underway at the OCC's SRC Arena. Shaun, thanks so much for the time. We really do appreciate it. Best of luck.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate the time.
All right. Shaun Belbey, GM of Boeheim's Army, joining us here on the show. And with that, we will hit our final timeout. Still time to check in if you want to place a phone call at 315-437-7644. We'll wrap up the show, wrap up the week next on ESPN Radio.